Hello everyone, let's try to do green apple today. Maybe with a little bit of yellow on it. It's now at the end of August and all the farmers market are about to open because they all have lovely apples coming up. And so it's a great time, and I went about the neighborhood and tried to look around and try to get some pictures and idea of the apples and how they are looking like. And so hopefully this will turn out to be a good tutorial paint along. I like to call it paint along because it sounded more fun because we can paint together, and I always believe that with frequent practicing and painting, even though we always make a lot of mistakes, I make a lot of mistakes too, and still making a lot of mistakes, but as I find that as I paint more and more, I recognize that I learn from the mistake that I make, and I do get better with time. So we don't really have to be really worried about making mistake. I guess the cost of painting watercolor maybe the paper, the paint, but I think if we have learned a lesson as we paint and make mistake, it's worth the price of the paper and everything. Okay, so I want to go in and soften the edge of the highlight. I left a big highlight here for the apple so that later it won't be so harsh. But if we forgot to do that, that's okay too. It's okay to have a little harsh edge sometimes. I really like sketching, like those ancient watercolorists. They always, or oil painters, sometimes they use watercolor as their sketching tools, and they are very loose with it, and they don't really always worry about softening the edges or too uptight about anything, and their watercolor sketches always turn out to be so good. So that's one thing that we can learn from using watercolor. We learn not to be worried about things too much sometimes, and if we make a mistake, just let it go, and sometimes it will probably turn out okay at the end. Okay, so I lay a basic color on the first apple, and I really wanted to give it some time to dry, so I will change to a little bit smaller brush. This second brush I'm using is just a Jackson brush. I ordered from Jackson, and it's synthetic. And so now I am picking up the sepia and start working on the stem of the apple. So this is what I do. I like to work around the painting, so it gives for example, right now I'm giving the apple a chance to dry the first layer of green color. And so I put in some sepia painting, and now I am softening the edge because the stem of the apple is a stick. So if you have darker part and lighter part here on one side and darker part on the other side, it will give it more of take on more of the shape of a stick instead of flat. I guess with being an artist, we're always thinking about the form of things. If you know, no matter what we're painting, we're always thinking, we always have it in the back of our mind, so that our painting doesn't go flat, if that makes sense. Like a stick wouldn't look like a rectangle. That would be nice to be able to accomplish that. But you will know from time to time, sometimes I forget about things like that, and when your painting is done, oh no, that part looked very flat. I forgot to make it so it looks like a form, and those kind of things happen once in a while. Okay, the stem is going into the apple because there's a leaf that's gonna come out of it, and I already leave the white space for that. Okay, and then I will come back in when this first layer of sepia is dry to come and intensify the form and the shape of the stems. Okay, I need to be a little bit more careful over there so it will look like the stem is coming out of the other side of the apple that we don't see. Okay, and while this water is still wet, I can drop in a little bit more sepia paint here. I can either do it now or I can come back and do it later. And then now I'm doing the stems that's coming out of the tree and going into the second apple that is on the back side. Since our focus is the first apple, I'll show you how I like to do the second apple nice and loose and not have to worry about putting so much detail. Okay, and as I'm still trying to give the apple some time to dry, I will work on the leaf over here. Okay, and since the leaves are, you know, towards the background, so I like to use this green color called the perlin green, and what it with a lot of water and just a little bit of pigment for the first layer. The perlin color is it gives you a less of a yellow. It's more like a bluish green, but not so much, not too intense in the blue. And sometimes if I need it a little bit darker, which I will do in a minute, I'll show you, I'm mixing some indigo with it. Okay, so I just kind of barely do that and then clean my brush. And so my brush is, if there's anything left in it, it's just water, and I'll pull these color out. And so the first layer is really very it's a very diluted pigment, and where I want the highlight, which is towards the top of this leaf, you can almost white color, and you know, I'll just let the green color kind of fade into it, and I will do the same thing for the second leaf. This painting is a little more involved, so what I mean is, like, I'm painting leaves and apple, one apple and then two apple, so I hope it's not going to take too long. But I think actually I am trying not to be too slow when I do video like that, so that I won't keep you guys here for a long time. But I think maybe you will appreciate me being slow, then you will have a chance to catch up if you're actually really painting along with me. Okay, after the green color on the leaf dry, I also might come in and actually do a little bit of pencil mark. I'll show you in a second, just to help me when I actually paint the second layer for the leaf. I will be able to not have to make a mistake, and I'll show you here in a second. I hope you guys are enjoying the nice weather, at least towards the nighttime anyway. It's cooling down at night. That always happens here in Utah. I'm really looking forward to fall because this has been a very dry year. We don't get a lot of water, and it's hard on people, it's hard on the animals and the vegetation. It'll be nice if fall brings us some water. Okay, you know, I am not as worried about the stem as I am just making sure that the apple is totally dry. So I will just work on the stem a little bit with sepia and show you how I actually do stem. So I lay the first layer of sepia, try to make it look like it's a round cylinder, okay? And now it's the second time, and so what I actually do is I dip in the sepia paint again and make it very intense. And I'll start going in and putting in strokes like that. Like, I hope you can see what I'm doing. My camera is actually above my head, so I have to stick up my neck to see if I'm actually filming myself on camera. I don't want a lot of detail, you know, but stems is always really fun to paint, so, you know, if I overdo it, you don't have to. I just do this little bit of a curvature. I don't know if you can see that. I will zoom in when I actually post the painting, the tutorial, and let you see how I actually do a little bit of the curve. The curve will help us see that, you know, further enhance the form of the stem that's going into the apple. Okay, so this is what I do. You know, randomly I will put in, you know, if I see that, like over here it's kind of like light, and I will at this point try to darken it a little bit. And so this will look more and more like a stem. At least I hope it does to you. That's usually how I do stems. Doing an apple is so different than doing a flower, right? So you guys can see what are some of the different things and technique that I do, and if you like the way I do it, then you can take away from this studio and do the same. If you don't, then that's okay too. But I do really enjoy it if you guys will leave me comments on my blog so I can understand, okay, that's the stem that go into the back apple, okay? So it goes, oh, and so I didn't make a mistake. There's a big drop of water that's dropped in, and so that's how I take care of things. Just take a tissue, and sometimes water collect on the ferrule of the brush, and then it will surprisingly give you a nice surprise, and then you have to wait till the water. You see that I didn't, but I should have wait till the water dry. Anyway, okay, so at this point I will bring the other side and just slightly draw an outline, you know, to help me. Okay, and I think that's it, unless at the very end I'll come in to take a look, okay? Alright, should we go on to the apple? I hope that it is dry enough for us to work a little more on it. Okay, so I think at this point I'm gonna work on this side, this little thing there, that little thing. Okay, let me move this painting over here. That little, I'm actually looking at an apple and some picture, and I'm also on Pinterest. So what I'm trying to pick out right here is a little bit of grayish blue color. Okay, and this by doing this we will be able to see that the apple is, you know, beginning to take its form. It's all these different shapes and placement of things that make an apple look more like an apple, you know, to a viewer's eye. And so we'll work on it a little bit at a time. Okay, so it looks like there's a shadow because there's a piece of the apples that cover the bottom part. Wow, sometimes I'm just not very good at explaining what the different parts of it was an apple, the bottom of the apple. Okay, so I'm gonna drop some sepia over here so that you see that this part of the apple flower, I guess, that get dried out, right? You know, I love to go out and watch the different stages. I have a little apple tree too, but it's not doing very well. I really like apple, but I think when we have time, we're gonna try to make it do better. Hi guys, I'm back. I actually lost some footage. For some reason, my phone stopped and then I didn't know, so I just keep painting. And so I finished this leaf. What I did is I just drop in the perlene green color and then have some sap green over here and leave that little vein. And this part lighter, so it has this illusion of the leaf is actually down over here and have that lifting up, so you can see the you can see more light over here. And then I put the shadow down here, and I also finished this part and not really quite finished. I think I will go work it a little bit more in a little while and make it look prettier. And so that's about it. And I think I did this part too. Maybe I leave a little bit of lighter color here so that you can see, you know, there's actually you know, a flatter bottom to the apple, and I hope you can see that. So I'm quite happy, but I lost some footage. I'm very sorry. So now, as I was talking about, I will go to the leaf over here. So I was talking to you earlier. I say when it's time to paint the leaf, you know, I like to just use a pencil and put a couple little veins over here, so I can see where I'm supposed to leave some highlight. Okay, so I will just show you usually what I do when I'm painting leaves. So now I'm going in there with a little bit darker color with the green mixed with the indigo, and hopefully it's wet enough. Okay, I think I'll just start this one first, and I will start painting a different layer. I like to paint nice and loose, so I usually just leave highlight here and there, you know, as I like it. As I move towards the vein, you will see that I am don't know if I see that. I leave that highlight over there. Okay. And at this point, I would like to go soften the edges of this area, so it's not so harsh, just a little bit. Okay, and then I will keep going back to the same little bit of green and indigo. So what I'm showing is actually this part is, you know, more in the shadow, and this part over here with the lighter color is more towards the light. Oh, getting the sunlight a little bit more. Okay, so I get to here, I will go and soften this side a little bit so it's not so harsh, but you know, with leaf it is, you know, okay to have harsh line. I don't see anything wrong with it. It's just a personal preference. Okay, so I leave another little highlight suggestion of a vein over there, and then I'll come in and soften this part a little bit more. I still feel like I need to keep going because I'm actually approaching a part naturally should be darker. So I will keep going over here and drop some more color in here. And allow this part to be lighter. And I pretty much like the leaf the way it is. However, I can either do a background later to make sure I separate the vein over here from the background. And so I will just do that, and just for fun, while the color over here is still wet, I like to drop a little bit of yellow mixed with green just to make it have more color to it than just, okay, I like that. Okay, and then now I'm working on this one that's closer to us. It's the same thing. Since it's not that important to make this so it looks very detailed. But as you know, as we look in nature, we're looking at a leaf. There's so many different color and different shade and shadow in them. Not quite necessary to make sure we paint all of them. Okay. I used to not like to paint leaf, but I don't know at what point I just learned to like it very much. Okay, and I soften that area a little bit. And then my brush is a little bit wet over here. I will just let it be wet, and then I'll drop some sap green on this one. Which this area over here, I have some sap green too. But since it's a little bit closer to us, maybe I'll put some cadmium yellow light over there. And so I think I'm quite happy. Maybe I will actually go in and draw something, and maybe I won't, I don't know. Okay, so at this point I think I will clean this area up a little bit and make it look a little bit smoother, but not too smooth, because it's just part of the apple. It's darker green down here, and leave the reflective light at the edge, and quickly go in and smooth out the edge, because I didn't, when my phone died, I was just doing this part, so I didn't get to show you what I did. So maybe I'll show you just this little bit so you can see about what I did when the phone died. Okay, and there's still this little part that needs to be softened out. The brush is not too wet. If the brush has too much water, it will go backflow into this area. This area, but I don't really mind that much, but maybe sometimes other people doesn't like it too much. Okay, so it will make the apple look a little bit more round, and this side seems like it's a little bit darker. Okay, so I'm okay, all right. Maybe I will put a little bit more sap green color coming down that way. Mix with a little bit of that. Just because I wanted the apple to look like it's darker a little bit on the top and lighter around here. That a little bit, and then I need to carry it over to the other side again over here, just a touch. so finally, at the very end, I would like to put a glaze on it. Now, I think this part is a little bit wet, so I need to go in and put some kind of a shadow from the leaf here, but I'm not going to touch that until the apple is, the color on the apple is actually more, the paper is actually drier. I'm thinking and talking at the same time. So sometimes it's a little bit hard. Okay, so it's time to work on the apple on the back. A little bit, so not so vibrant color. Okay, so I will just go there and put on the first layer of color for that apple on the back. Since this is all in the shadow of the leaves, I'm not going to leave much of a highlight over there, and then I'll follow the shape of the apple and about right here. Okay, and so what I'm gonna do is I will do what I like to do with background. I do not want to, like, it's not a painting that I'm going to finish. So I will just leave this jagged edge over here, suggestion of some highlight, and just let it be like that way, okay, and then I will continue on the other side with the same kind of color wash, okay, go all the way to the stem, and we'll separate out the deeper area in a minute here. Okay, it's the same thing. We'll just do this, and very quick and very easy because the main apple is the one that is in the front. The main focus is the apple that is in the front, where the leaf area, the little piece of leaf area is. So we're not focusing on this back one. And so I will just do this kind of thing. Just slightly suggest here and there that we know that there's an apple here. And we'll just leave it at that. And then I will actually come in and put a little more yellow ochre color actually in a minute, but as of right now I will just let that go and let this whole area dry out. Okay, and I hope that the front apple, I think so, is ready. And so for the darker area of shadow, I'm going to mix up a little bit of yellow ochre color with a little bit of sepia, and that will be my shadow color. Okay, and then I'll put the color start coming out from here. So that you know that there's like this leaf is actually casting a shadow onto the apple. It's quite pretty, I think. And then I will darken the edges over here a little bit, just a little bit with drop some sepia color in it. I hope you're not hearing all the all the noise that's going on outside. If you do, I am very sorry. And I always like to drop a little bit of blue purple when I paint shadow. For some reason that just suggests to the mind that it's a shadow area. So just a little tag of blue purple over there, not enough so that you can see very well. Okay, so at this point I think it's all dry, so it's my time to glaze the apple. So it could be a little bit of a yellow ochre. A little bit of yellow apple actually. A little more yellow in the apple. I like it that way. Okay, I don't know if you remember we painted some pink color over here. So as I'm going over to I'm reaching that area of pink, I would be very careful and use some water to lighten that area. So my brush is actually kind of clear, so I'm good reaching the area, and then I'll soften the edge of over here, of the apple over here. Doesn't need too much softening. Then I'll keep going with the yellow color. I guess glazing is just to put a layer of cover color. You can say that on top of the base color that you've painted. Just put a little bit of yellow so the whole apple will have this yellow ochre kind of color on top. I always like to do that. Same for this area because I've put pink color on it, so now I'm going to just try to avoid that area so the pink actually show through. And then finish up this area, and I mix a little bit of green with the yellow ochre on here so it's not so bright. I think what I was trying to do is to just darken the glaze around this area. Okay, so at this point you need to come back and check, and if there's like a little part here that maybe you felt like there's too much pigment, make sure your brush is really dry. Go over there and smooth out the color a little bit. Okay. I think as we do that, I can tell the area of the shadow is not dark enough. And then after this part of the apple is drying, I also need that. I know that I probably need a little more color. And so at this point, I will just make a decision of putting some yellow ochre color mixed with sap green, a little bit of sap green with the yellow ochre. And then I'm going to come over this area and give it a little more. Even though we wanted to push this apple back, but after I see that when the first layer of color was dry, it was just too light. Same thing, we don't have to finish up the painting of that whole apple. We'll just do as much as we wanted over there. And since I have yellow ochre over here, in order to have harmony right on the other side, on this side, so I need to do the same thing over here and just put a little glaze. So and this part achieved the effect of that is underneath the leaf very well because it's darker. it's just darker area over there, not so dark over here, because probably in real life there will be a lot of leaves covering the tree, the apple, right? Okay, now I need to let that area dry, and then I'll come back and see. I will go back and darken that shadow area. So it look a little bit darker than what I can see. It's not as dark as I like after the first time through. Okay. Let me dry the brush really well so I can soften this area over here. Still see the little blue purple area over there. That would be nice. Just a suggestion of shadows. Okay, this part is not very dry yet. I think I will take a very fine brush and try to use some pink spray and do a little vein over here that make the leaf stands out a little bit against the background. Just a suggestion so you can just see it here and there. That's how I like to paint them, like that, because it's that concept. They always said that the human eye will fill in the rest, right? We don't need to draw every single line. Okay, the same go for right here. I do have intention to put a little bit of a background. Okay, let's see. The ink is okay. I think it's not, the point is not as sharp as I wanted it to be. Let's try that again. Is on the apple. Let's do that one too. Just a very, very small line, and that will suggest where the direction of the vein, right? Just very, very small. Almost can't see it. Okay. As with the yellow apple that I'm at, the green apple that I'm looking at, there is some dots on it, and the dots look a little bit of the yellow ochre mixed with sepia. So I will attempt to put some just here and there on that. Realistic looking. Look like a real apple. quite happy with how the apple turned out, but I think maybe just for fun I'll put some yellow green color in different spots just to so that I can see more yellow color on the apple. As I'm looking at this apple that's sitting next to me, you can tell there's a lot of different coloration running through the whole apple, and it's very nice to do the same thing for the painting. So I think in this case nature is not very smooth and just one color. It has many different colors, it's very colorful, and so it would be nice that we painted all those in here and make it more colorful and variegated, I guess, in a way. I really like that kind of effect. Make the apple come to life, come more to life. Try to take care not to go into this pink area. Just leave it the way it is because I really like it the way it is. Okay, but I want it to have some variation of color over here. So put the color in and hurry up and soften the edges so that you can see that difference. Okay, and I think that now this is dry enough, so we'll do the same thing. We use some blue-green color and try to carve out. Now I'm turning my prop over here, carve out the apple right there. Okay, and then go in and soften the line over here. So it looks like the stems is going into the apple, right? And that's quite nice. If you don't think it's dark enough, then you can drop a little more color in there at this point. Take care not to drop it onto the stems, and that's kind of nice. And then my apple that I'm looking at has some yellow color coming out this way, and that way, and a little bit over here. I think I will paint that, but not in much of a detail because it is the apple on the back. And I need to come and darken the area too, so let's quickly get some kind of darker yellow ochre and sepia with a little bit of green, and then go in and just slightly suggest that kind of action that's going on in the apple. Okay, just very, very lightly and quickly, so that it can be more true to what the nature is wanting us to see. And since the lines are so these fanning out lines are so strong, we don't really need to soften that very much at all. Just kind of like let it go out. And I think I will go to this side and let a little bit of that happen over here. But not too much, and taking care not to disturb the stem of the apple, and just a little suggestion of that. I think that will be good. That will actually look good. like that. Okay, let's quickly get some of my blue-gray back and intensify this dark area because that looks very dark compared to here, right? So I'm always comparing and contrasting and make sure that the apple in the front is not actually less defined of a color than the one at the back. Okay, and so at this point, oh yes, there's a couple of dots, sorry, of a yellow ochre color going up here this way and that way, so we should just slightly suggest that. Not as much as was in the front, okay? And then I wanted to show you, let's see, maybe I will show you at a different time. I wanted to show you the other side of the leaf, but I won't do that because this is getting very, very long. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just to do a little bit of my background, because as I do that, then I clean up these line over here, right? They're not, you know, soften it up a little bit, and then I'm going to come in and use all the color that I use in there. I think the first one I'm going to use is some yellow ochre and come over here. Okay, if that's like really, wow, so bright. It is because I just put strict yellow ochre color. I'm going to come in with the green to dampen that effect of such brightness. Just trying to do a background, maybe suggest that there are more apple cluster around these two, maybe. And then I wanted to use some of that pretty green color and keep going over here a little bit, and then use the indigo that I used to mix with the green and just trying to get the line really nice. And then I need to just get a little part into my apple over here, brush it and push it out, and maybe that will be suggestion of leaf over here, so I can come in and my brush is too wet, and with a brush and just kind of suggest that there are some leaf over here. Because in nature, leaves will be coming everywhere on the tree, right? The tree is very, very dense. And you see that I'm wetting this area. Maybe I'll put some sepia mixed with green down over here. You know, leaving that leaf over there so you can see that there is a suggestion of a leaf over there. And now I'm going to come in over here with some sap green. And just play with the background. The background is actually really fun because then you can, you know, do whatever you think, you know, can portray the, you know, actually what's happening. And this will also be a good time to put in some of your pink color and also give the human eye a little rest from the green, right? Just way too much green. So there's no reason why there will be some pink color there, but it just looked nice. There's a hair of the brush. Okay. And to balance this part off, I like to put some indigo over here too, okay? Okay, I will. And you can see I'm trying to suggest another leaf over there. Okay, I will finish the background and post a picture. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you really have a good time. Thank you. See you later.